Pre-lunch, we had a speaker who was related to agribusiness. I interacted with him. And post-lunch, I am here. Mima Institute of Management offers a program in agribusiness. So, two speakers who are remotely or closely related to agriculture have been very strategically placed pre and post-lunch. So, pre-lunch, you think about the food that you would be having, and post-lunch, you would be thinking about the food that you had. Generally, in my teaching experience also, I have seen that my sessions are usually kept post-lunch. Now, I do not know whether my voice has a quality where I wake up people from their sleep, or does it have a quality of putting them to sleep? And I hope it is not the second case. I hope it is the first case. Now, here I am to discuss about technological climate change and how it has an impact on the minds of kids, on the minds of young children. Let me start by telling you a very short story. There was an 8-year-old boy who was playing with his cousins on one Saturday afternoon at his grandmother's place. Now, usually we know how kids are, they play different kinds of games. So this boy climbed on top of one of his kids or one of his cousins. Eventually, they lost their balance. Both the Humpty Dumptys, they fell down. The cousin, however, escaped that particular fall with minor scrape injuries. But this 8-year-old boy suffered a major setback because he disfigured his jaw. He actually went and landed on a table that was lying next to him. He disfigured his jaw. He lost 4 of his top teeth and about 3 of his lower teeth. He was immediately rushed to a dentist nearby. The dentist made arrangements for first aid. The grandparents had taken those broken teeth along with them, and it actually helped. Because the dentist mentioned that if you can take these teeth, you can go back to another surgeon and get those dental implants made for this boy. So the boy was taken to a dental surgeon, and the dental implants, or what we typically understand as dentures, were then made, and the boy was asked to wear these for the time being. Fortunately, the good news for him was that he had lost or he had broken something called as the milk teeth. Now we all know that milk teeth are broken, and by a natural process, the permanent teeth, they grow back. But they take their own sweet time. So that was the bad news. He had actually lost all those teeth, but then the permanent teeth which were to replace them were going to take their own sweet time. As time progressed, he started going to school wearing those dental implants or dentures, while having food, while having water, sometimes while playing, sometimes even while talking, because those were temporary fixtures. They used to sometimes come out of his mouth. And the kids in the school eventually got to know that he has lost his teeth. And kids being kids, they started making fun of him. They started bullying him. They started ridiculing him. This happened for almost 4 years of his life. 4 excruciatingly painful years of his life. While he had already come out of the physical pain long back, but the mental pain that he had gone through was substantial. During this period, he had somebody to talk to him. He had his mother to talk to him. His father generally was busy, but even the father was there to talk to him. He had no real close friends. As he started progressing further, he moved into his college years. He became lonely. He became absolutely staying aloof. He never really mingled much with the society. He never really mingled much with the people around him. As he moved into the junior college, he found like-minded people. Those like-minded people realized that this guy had a passion of music. This guy had a passion of participating into, debates. He had a personality which he could carry. And they started encouraging him. Come to today's times, if this would have happened with somebody today, if this would have happened with a kid today, I seriously doubt whether this kid would have been able to go and speak to his parents, because the parents nowadays are much into their phones. Technology has brought us close to people. Technology has brought us close to everybody, but technology also has made us a slave to it. I'll give you one more example. My cousin traveled back to the US, probably about 10-20 years ago, he traveled to the US. He reached the airport in the US and he called us up from a prepaid phone. And the first very innocent question that we asked him was, "Wahan pe time kitna hua hai?" He said, "Wahan pe raat hai." We asked him, "Wahan ki raat dikhti kaisi hai?" "Raat to raat hai. Wahan bhi andhera hai, yahan bhi andhera hai." But that imagination or that inquisitiveness that we had in our mind, कि वहां की रात कुछ अलग दिखती होगी, वहां की रात जो है वो कुछ अलग तरीके से दिखती होगी. That inquisitiveness was in our mind. I also remember that was a period when we had just started using emails. So he clicked a photograph and he sent it to us. Here we were very happy that, whatever we had imagined, it somehow looked the same. Then there was another instance where it was snowing outside his house. उसने फिर फोन किया, यहाँ पे बर्फ हो रही है. So the second innocent question that we asked him, वहां की बर्फ कैसी दिखती है? बर्फ तो बर्फ है, यहाँ भी सफेद है, वहां भी सफेद है. But that same innocent question which we had in our mind कि वहां की बर्फ कुछ अलग दिखती होगी. Those snow-capped cars, snow-capped houses, probably because we have not seen them here. So those imaginations were there in our mind. He again clicked the photograph, he sent it to an email, and we were very happy that whatever we imagined, it looked the same. Come to today's times, somebody reaches the US, makes a video call from WhatsApp, and shows you. The power of imagination is gone. You don't need to imagine anymore because sitting here in India, you are able to see how it looks across the continents over there. Sitting here in India, you are able to, visualize everything that's going on over there. Technology certainly has brought us close. But the fact about imagination that I spoke some time ago, the fact of imagination has gone away from our mind. Japan as a country has made huge amount of progress using technology. But Japan is one of the countries that probably is the highest in something called as a loneliness index. A lot of Japanese people are doing wonders when it comes to technology, but they are living an isolated life because Japan is an aging economy. Because it's an aging economy, after a certain age, people lose their life partners and they start living alone. Japan has been developing animals using artificial intelligence where they can now use those animals as companions. वो animals भी live नहीं है. Those animals are actually robots. But they are using this. I recently saw somewhere that a country has developed a technology where they can actually print food using technology. They can actually 3D print food. So food also is now becoming artificial in our life. If everything starts becoming artificial, how is it that we are going to sustain in this? The biggest problem here is that we are not able to communicate or connect with each other. Technology, although is there in our hands, we are not able to connect face to face with each other. I represent the education fraternity. As a part of the education fraternity, we have experienced a huge amount of transition in the year 2020 after the pandemic set in. Everything became virtual. Now I represent, under education also I represent something called management education. So management education, I personally feel, is a domain that can be only learned by experience because management is all about dealing with people. So if you're not able to deal with people face to face, it becomes extremely difficult for you to manage them. Virtual education was not able to provide us that, and that exactly was what happened after the pandemic. People came back to virtual education. The people came back to the physical education. Another thing that I have seen is that while people were attending lectures on the online mode, the connect that they used to have with their professors or their faculties has somewhere reduced. Now, because that reduced connect is happening, people are becoming isolated day by day. I have seen students, I encourage my students to come on stage to perform or to come on stage and practice or to present their ideas, but it becomes extremely difficult for them because their day begins with either making or watching Instagram reels, and their day ends with either making or watching Instagram reels. The beauty of standing in front over here in front of a live audience is lost when you are speaking in front of a camera or when you are speaking in front of a virtual screen. In front of a virtual screen, people have got millions of followers. They have millions of friends on Facebook, on Instagram. They have got millions of followers on Twitter, all these social media handles. But when it comes to actually standing in front of a live audience and talking to them, probably it becomes very difficult for them. When we talk about technological change and mental health, the problem is that because we are getting, somewhere we are getting limited to a mobile screen, we are actually getting limited into a 6-inch screen. The boy, when he faced that incident, was able to come out of it because he had friends who he could speak to. He had his mother who he could speak to. He had his father who he could speak to. He had teachers who he could speak to. Today what was happening today we are all limiting ourselves to the 6-inch mobile screen. Our world is becoming smaller day by day. And the more we start limiting ourselves, the difficult it becomes for us to express, the difficult it becomes for us to go and speak and to vent out our feelings. When I was a kid, I really did not know the words called depression. I did not know the words called bipolar disorders. I did not know that these exist as a health hazard. We probably knew that it happens to some people. But We also were under a misconception that it happens to people who are above a certain age. Today, we are all aware of these terminologies because these are now recognized as actual mental health hazards or disorders, and there are proper inner practitioners who are dealing with these issues. Why has this happened? This has happened primarily because we have started living isolated. We have started living alone. The mobile and the virtual world is everything that we have. The mobile and the virtual world are also an increasing cause for a lot of suicidal tendencies among kids, for a lot of self-destructive tendencies among kids. Somebody who doesn't win a game in PUBG decides one day to end his life. Somebody whose mobile was taken away while he was playing PUBG decides to end his life. Why? Because he's not going to be able to play that game anymore. That game has become the entire purpose of life. The very game that we are playing as living beings in this world is something that we forget. The only way to do this is to encourage more and more communication. Somebody spoke about changing the education system. Yes, it is required. Today in the education system, what is happening is we are teaching all the prescribed syllabus by various education boards or various authorities. We have a prescribed set of syllabus. Let us do that. But at the same time, let us also encourage those traditional practices that we had way back in our school, where we would encourage kids to come forth, where we could encourage the kids to come forth and speak more about it. Today what is happening is the parents immediately, as soon as there is something that goes wrong, the parents are the first ones to intervene and they go and speak to the concerned teachers or the concerned faculty members. How about allowing the kids to come and first speak to us? Let the kid first understand that there is a problem that he or she is facing. Let the child come and first speak to us, and then if required, the parents need to come and they can support that discussion. The more we let the child come and speak, the more we are allowing him or her an outlet to go and speak out. As a kid, when I wanted to express my views, I never really had an outlet. So a lot of things that I felt like speaking, were inside me. But today, because of the mobile phone, we are immediately able to express. And that's the reason sometimes we don't understand what to express, and sometimes even we don't understand what is to be expressed. The difference between what is and what is not is something that is to be understood by these children. If we are able to allow them an outlet, things probably would get back to a little normal. Technology, of course, is not going to go away. It is going to remain an integral part of our life. But how do we live with that technology responsibly is something that is very, very essential. To conclude my talk, I'll again give you an example about the same 8-year-old boy. The same 8-year-old boy who was once upon a time not able to speak about himself, or he was not able to face anybody, is here standing in front of you and giving a talk on technology and climate change. Thank you.